The sound of laughter and clinking glasses fills the room. It's our 10th anniversary, and Emma has outdone herself. Candles flicker on the dining table, casting a warm glow over the elegant spread. She looks stunning in her red dress, a perfect match for the roses I brought her. I can't help but feel a swell of pride and love as I watch her mingle with our friends. "Jack, come here," she calls, her voice melodic and inviting. I walk over, wrapping an arm around her waist. She feels warm and soft, fitting perfectly against me. "Happy anniversary, darling," I whisper, planting a kiss on her neck. She giggles, her eyes sparkling with joy. It's moments like these that make everything worthwhile. Our friends start to leave one by one until it's just Emma and me. She moves closer, her breath hot against my ear. "Why don't we take this upstairs?" she murmurs. My heart quickens, anticipation building. We climb the stairs, hand in hand, and enter our bedroom. The bed is covered in rose petals, the scent intoxicating. Emma pulls me close, her lips finding mine. The kiss is deep, filled with passion. Her hands wander, unbuttoning my shirt. I reciprocate, sliding her dress off her shoulders. We fall onto the bed, lost in the moment. Later, as she sleeps beside me, I can't shake a nagging feeling. Emma has been distant lately, distracted. I try to push the thoughts away, focusing on the rhythm of her breathing, but the doubts persist. Something isn't right. Morning comes, and Emma is already up, humming softly in the kitchen. I join her, wrapping my arms around her from behind. "Good morning," I say, nuzzling her neck. "Good morning," she replies, but her smile doesn't reach her eyes. She pulls away, busying herself with breakfast. I frown, watching her. The disconnect is palpable, a barrier between us. At work, I can't concentrate. Emma's behavior gnaws at me. I replay the past few weeks, looking for clues. The late nights, the hushed phone calls. My mind races, piecing together fragments of conversations and suspicious glances. By the time I get home, my nerves are frayed. Emma is on the phone, her voice low and urgent. She hangs up quickly when she sees me, a forced smile on her face. "How was your day?" she asks, her tone too bright. "Fine," I reply, scrutinizing her. "Who was that?" "Just a friend," she says too quickly. My stomach churns. I want to believe her, but doubt creeps in, insidious and relentless. The days blur together, my unease growing. I start noticing small things. Emma's reluctance to meet my eyes, her phone always face down. The final straw comes when I find a text message, a brief, intimate exchange with someone named Mark. My blood runs cold. Everything seems ordinary, but this changes everything. My life as I know it is shattering. Emma notices my silence, her eyes widening with fear. "Jack, what's wrong?" I turn to her, my voice steady but my heart pounding. "We need to talk." "We need to talk," I say, my voice cold. Emma's face pales, her eyes darting around the room. She knows I've seen the text. "Jack, it's not what you think," she begins, but I cut her off. "Who is Mark?" I demand, my voice rising. "How long has this been going on?" She stumbles over her words, trying to come up with a lie, but I can see the truth in her eyes. She has been cheating on me. My heart pounds in my chest, anger bubbling up. "Jack, please, let me explain," she pleads, reaching for my hand, but I pull away. "Explain? What's there to explain, Emma? You've been lying to me, betraying me," I say, my voice shaking with fury. "On our anniversary, no less." Tears well up in her eyes, but I don't care. The hurt and betrayal are too fresh, too raw. "I never meant for it to happen," she whispers, but I don't want to hear it. I storm out of the house, needing space to think. I drive aimlessly for hours, the city lights blurring past. My mind races with thoughts of Emma and Mark, images of them together flashing through my mind. I feel sick to my stomach. How could she do this to me? I end up at a bar, drowning my sorrows in whiskey. The alcohol numbs the pain, but only temporarily. I need to do something, but what? Divorce seems too easy, too clean. I want them to feel the pain I'm feeling. An idea starts to form in my mind, dark and twisted. Revenge. I will make them pay for what they've done. But I need to be smart about it. I need a plan. The next morning, hungover and tired, I start to piece things together. I know where Mark works. Emma mentioned his name once, in passing. He's a lawyer, which complicates things. But I'm determined. I begin my investigation. I follow Emma, noting her patterns, her routines. She's careful, but not careful enough. I catch her meeting Mark at a coffee shop, their heads close together, talking in hushed tones. My blood boils, but I keep my distance, watching, waiting. Back at home, I search her phone when she's in the shower. Texts, photos, emails, all the evidence I need. I copy everything, creating a dossier of their affair. It's sickening, but necessary. One night, as she sleeps beside me, I lie awake, planning my next move. I need to confront Mark, but not in a way that he expects. I need to make him fear me, to understand the consequences of his actions. I arranged to meet him at his office under the guise of needing legal advice. He's surprised to see me, but he hides it well. "Mr. Donovan, what can I do for you?" he asks, smiling. I want to punch that smile off his face, but I restrain myself. "I need help with a personal matter," I say, my voice calm. "My wife." His smile falters, and I see a flicker of fear in his eyes. Good. He leads me to his office, closing the door behind us. "What seems to be the problem?" he asks, trying to sound professional. I take a deep breath, keeping my emotions in check. "I know about you and Emma," I say quietly. His eyes widen, and he starts to speak, but I cut him off. "Save it. I don't care about your excuses. I'm here to make sure you understand the gravity of what you've done." He swallows hard, his composure slipping. "Mr. Donovan, You ruined my marriage," I hiss, leaning forward. "You think you can just waltz in and take what's mine? You're wrong." He looks terrified, and it fuels my anger. "I'm not going to hurt you," I continue, "but I will ruin you. I have evidence, texts, emails, photos. I can destroy your career, your reputation." He pales, and I see the panic in his eyes. "Please, don't," he begs. "I'll do anything." "Anything?" I ask, a plan forming in my mind. "Fine. You're going to end things with Emma, today, and you're going to help me with something else." He nods eagerly, desperate to appease me. I outline my plan, making sure he understands the consequences of failing me. He agrees, and I leave his office feeling a grim satisfaction. This is just the beginning. That evening, Emma is unusually quiet. She knows something is wrong, but doesn't dare ask. I watch her, my heart aching, but my resolve firm. This is for her own good, I tell myself. She needs to learn. The next day, Mark calls me, confirming that he has broken things off with Emma. She's devastated, crying in the bathroom for hours. I want to comfort her, but I hold back. She needs to feel this pain, to understand what she's done. Over the next few weeks, I manipulate both of them, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. I spread rumors about Mark at his firm, subtly, so it doesn't trace back to me. His colleagues start to doubt him, his cases suffer. He's on edge, his career crumbling. Emma is a wreck, and I pretend to be supportive, even though it tears me apart inside. I comfort her, hold her, but there's always a distance. She feels it, and it drives her crazy. One night, she breaks down, sobbing in my arms. "I'm so sorry, Jack," she cries. "I never meant to hurt you." I stroke her hair, my heart heavy. "I know," I whisper, "but you did, and now we have to deal with it." She looks up at me, her eyes red and swollen. "Can we ever fix this?" she asks, her voice small and broken. I sigh, unsure of the answer. "I don't know," I admit. "But we can try." The days blur into weeks, my plan slowly taking shape. I orchestrate a series of events that lead to Mark's downfall, a scandal that ruins his reputation and costs him his job. He's desperate, reaching out to me for help, but I ignore him. He's served his purpose. Emma, oblivious to my machinations, slowly starts to heal. She leans on me, trusting me again, and I play the part of the supportive husband. But inside, I'm a mess. The betrayal has changed me, hardened me. As we approach the anniversary of discovering her affair, I decide it's time to end this charade. I confront Emma, laying everything out, my knowledge of her affair, my revenge against Mark, everything. She's shocked, horrified. Why, Jack? Why did you do this? Because you needed to understand the consequences of your actions, I say, my voice cold. You needed to feel the pain you caused me. She's silent, tears streaming down her face. I never meant to hurt you, she whispers. But you did, I reply, my heart aching. And now, we have to find a way to move forward, or not. The house is filled with silence as Emma processes my words. I watch her, my emotions a whirlwind. I've achieved my revenge, but at what cost? Our marriage is in tatters, and I'm not sure it can ever be repaired. Days turn into weeks, and Emma and I live in a tense truce. She's trying to make amends, but the damage is done. I've become someone else, someone colder, harder. I don't know if I can ever be the man I was before. One night, as I lie in bed, I realize something. I'm not satisfied. The revenge didn't bring me the closure I wanted. It didn't erase the pain. I need to find a way to heal, to move on. But how? I decide to see a therapist, to try and sort through my emotions. It's a slow process, but it helps. I start to understand the depth of my hurt, and I begin to let go of some of the anger. Emma and I have long, difficult conversations, trying to rebuild trust. It's not easy, and some days it feels impossible, but we keep trying. Eventually, I start to see a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, we can find a way through this. It won't be the same as before, but it might be something new, something stronger. As I look at Emma, I see the woman I fell in love with, the woman I've hurt and who has hurt me. We're both broken, but maybe we can put the pieces back together, one step at a time. I sit in the living room, the glow of the fireplace casting shadows on the walls. Emma sits across from me, her eyes red and swollen. We've been talking for hours, trying to find a way through this mess. But the more we talk, the more I realize how deep the betrayal runs. Jack, I don't know how to fix this, she says, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know if we can. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. We have to try, Emma. For us, for our future. She nods, but I can see the doubt in her eyes. I feel it too. Can we really rebuild after everything that's happened? I decide to throw myself into my work, hoping that focusing on my career will help distract me from the pain. I start taking on more projects, staying late at the office, anything to keep my mind off Emma and Mark. It helps, but only a little. The anger and hurt are always there, just beneath the surface. One night, I come home late to find Emma waiting for me. She looks nervous, twisting her hands together. Jack, we need to talk, she says, her voice trembling. I sigh, dropping my briefcase by the door. What is it, Emma? I think we should go to therapy. Together, she says, looking at me with pleading eyes. I pause, considering her words. Therapy could help, but it also means facing the pain head-on, something I've been avoiding. Okay, I finally say. Let's try it. We start seeing a therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Lewis. She listens as we pour out our hearts, guiding us through the process of healing. It's excruciating, but necessary. We dig into the roots of our problems, the things that led us to this point. The sessions are intense, filled with tears and anger, but also moments of clarity. One evening, after a particularly hard session, Emma and I sit in the car, silent. I reach over, taking her hand in mine. We'll get through this, I say, squeezing her hand. She nods, tears in her eyes, and for the first time in months, I feel a glimmer of hope. But just as things start to improve, Mark resurfaces. He sends Emma a message, begging her to talk to him. She shows it to me, her hands shaking. I don't want anything to do with him, Jack, I promise, she says, her voice frantic. I believe her, but the message reignites my anger. I decide to confront Mark one last time. I need to make sure he stays away from us for good. I track him down to a bar downtown. He's sitting alone, nursing a drink. I approach him, my fists clenched. We need to talk, I say, my voice cold. He looks up, his eyes widening in surprise. Jack, I didn't mean to. Save it, I snap. This ends now. You stay away from Emma. You stay away from us, or I will ruin you. Do you understand? He nods, fear in his eyes. I understand. I'm sorry. I leave the bar, feeling a mix of satisfaction and exhaustion. This needs to be the end of it, for our sake. Things seem to settle down after that. Emma and I continue therapy, slowly rebuilding our trust. It's a long, painful process, but we're making progress. We start to find moments of happiness again, little glimpses of the love we once had. One night, as we lie in bed, Emma turns to me, her eyes filled with a vulnerability I haven't seen in a long time. Jack, do you still love me? Her question catches me off guard. I think about everything we've been through, the pain, the betrayal, but also the good times, the memories we've shared. Yes, I say finally, I still love you. She smiles, a tear slipping down her cheek. I love you too, she whispers. For the first time in months, I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. We're not there yet, but we're on the right path. But just as I start to feel hopeful, another complication arises. I receive a subpoena to testify in a trial against Mark. Apparently, his firm is suing him for malpractice, and they've called me as a witness due to the evidence I gathered. I'm torn. Testifying could expose everything, including my role in his downfall. But refusing to testify could mean letting him get away with his actions. I talk to Emma about it, and she's as conflicted as I am. Do what you think is right, Jack, she says, her eyes filled with concern. I'll support you, whatever you decide. I decide to testify. It's the right thing to do, and I need to see this through to the end. The day of the trial arrives, and I sit in the courtroom, my heart pounding. Mark avoids my gaze, looking defeated. When I'm called to the stand, I take a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. The lawyer questions me about my interactions with Mark, the evidence I gathered. I answer honestly, my voice steady. Mark's lawyer tries to discredit me, bringing up my personal vendetta against him. But I stay calm, sticking to the facts. The truth is on my side. After hours of questioning, I finally step down from the stand, feeling drained but resolute. I've done what I needed to do. The trial drags on for days, but eventually, the verdict comes in. Mark is found guilty of malpractice, and his career is effectively over. Justice has been served, but the victory feels hollow. The damage is done, and there's no going back. Emma and I continue our journey of healing, but the scars remain. We start to find a new normal, a new way of being together. It's not perfect, but it's ours. One evening, as we sit on the porch watching the sunset, Emma turns to me. Do you think we'll ever be the same? I think about it, then shake my head. No, we won't, but maybe that's okay. Maybe we can be something better. She smiles, leaning her head on my shoulder. I hope so, she says softly. As we sit there, I realize that despite everything, I'm grateful. Grateful for the chance to rebuild, to find a new way forward. It's not the life I imagined, but it's a life worth living. But the peace is short-lived. One night, I receive a call from Dr. Lewis. She sounds worried, asking if Emma is with me. I tell her no, and she hesitates before telling me that Emma missed her individual therapy session and hasn't been responding to calls. Panic grips me. I try calling Emma, but she doesn't answer. I drive around the city, checking all the places she might be, but there's no sign of her. I return home, anxiety gnawing at me. Hours later, Emma finally walks in, her eyes red and puffy. Where were you? I ask, my voice sharp with worry. She breaks down, sobbing uncontrollably. I went to see Mark, she admits, her voice breaking. I needed closure. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. Why, Emma? Why would you do that? I needed to understand why it happened, she says, her voice barely audible. I needed to hear it from him. I feel the rage boiling inside me again, but I force myself to stay calm. And did you get your answers? She nods, wiping her tears. Yes, I did, and I'm done with him. For good. I take a deep breath, trying to process her words. Okay, I say finally, but you should have told me. She nods, looking remorseful. I know. I'm sorry, Jack. We sit in silence for a long time, the weight of her confession hanging in the air. I want to believe her, to trust that this is truly the end. But a part of me wonders if we can ever fully move past this. In the days that follow, I try to focus on the positives. We're still together, still fighting for our marriage. But the road ahead is uncertain, filled with challenges we can't foresee. As I lie in bed one night, I realize that our journey is far from over. We have a long way to go, and the path won't be easy. But I'm determined to keep fighting, to keep trying, because I still love Emma. And despite everything, I believe that love is worth fighting for. Emma's confession about visiting Mark lingers in my mind like a dark cloud. I try to shake it off, but the doubts keep creeping back. Did she really get closure, or is she hiding something from me again? Trust is a fragile thing, and ours is barely hanging by a thread. One night, as we sit down for dinner, I decide to confront her. Emma, I need to know the truth. Why did you really see Mark? She looks up from her plate, her eyes filled with a mixture of guilt and fear. I told you, Jack, I needed closure. But what does that mean? I press. Did you talk about the affair? Did you talk about us? She nods slowly. We talked about everything. I needed to understand why he pursued me, why I let it happen. And did you get your answers? I ask, my voice tight. Yes, she whispers. And it made me realize how much I've hurt you, how much I've hurt us. I want to believe her, but the anger and hurt are still too fresh. Okay, I say, taking a deep breath. But if there's anything else you're hiding, now is the time to tell me. She shakes her head. There's nothing else, Jack, I promise. I nod, trying to accept her words. All right, let's move forward then. Days turn into weeks, and we try to rebuild our lives. Therapy sessions continue, and we start to find a rhythm again. But the specter of Mark always looms, a constant reminder of the betrayal. One evening, as we're getting ready for bed, Emma turns to me, her eyes serious. Jack, I want to show you something. She leads me to her study and opens a drawer, pulling out a stack of letters. These are from Mark. He sent them after the trial. My heart sinks. Why didn't you tell me about these? I didn't want to upset you, she says, handing them to me, but I realize now that keeping them was a mistake. I take the letters, my hands trembling. As I read through them, anger boils inside me. They're filled with apologies, pleas for forgiveness, and confessions of love. This is insane, I mutter. He's obsessed with you. I know, Emma says quietly, but I never responded. I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid. Afraid of what? I snap. Afraid I'd leave you? Yes, she admits, tears welling up in her eyes. But I'm telling you now because I want to be honest. I want to move forward with you, Jack. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. All right, we'll deal with this together, but you need to cut all ties with him completely. I will, she promises, and I can see the sincerity in her eyes. The next day, we draft a cease and desist letter with the help of our lawyer. We send it to Mark, making it clear that any further contact will result in legal action. It's a small step, but it feels like a weight has been lifted off our shoulders. Life starts to stabilize again. Emma and I find moments of happiness, glimpses of the love we once had. We spend more time together, go on dates, and slowly, the wounds begin to heal. But just as we start to feel normal, a new threat emerges. I receive an anonymous email with a video attachment. My heart races as I open it, dread pooling in my stomach. It's footage of Emma and Mark, taken during their affair. The images are explicit, leaving nothing to the imagination. I feel sick, my vision blurring with rage. I storm into the living room where Emma is reading. "What the hell is this?" I shout, throwing my phone on the table. She looks at the screen, her face turning white. "Oh my God, Jack, I didn't know he had this." "Who sent this?" I demand, my voice shaking with fury. "I don't know," she says, tears streaming down her face. "I swear I didn't know." I pace the room, trying to control my anger. "This changes everything, Emma. This video could ruin us." "I'm so sorry," she sobs. "I don't know what to do." "We need to find out who sent this and why," I say, my mind racing. "And we need to make sure it doesn't get out." I call our lawyer, explaining the situation. He advises us to contact a private investigator to trace the source of the email. The next day, we hire a PI named John Taylor, a former detective with a reputation for solving tough cases. John starts his investigation, digging into Mark's background and his connections. Days turn into weeks, and the tension is unbearable. Emma and I barely speak, the stress of the situation weighing heavily on us. One night, John calls with an update. "I've traced the email," he says. "It came from a disposable account, but I managed to track the IP address. It leads back to Mark." "Of course it does," I mutter. "That bastard won't leave us alone." "There's more," John says. "I've also uncovered evidence that Mark has been blackmailing other people in the past. He's got a history of this kind of behavior." My blood boils. "We need to stop him once and for all." "We will," John assures me. "But we need to be smart about it. I'll gather more evidence and we'll take it to the authorities." In the meantime, Emma and I try to keep a low profile, avoiding any public appearances. The fear of the video leaking hangs over us like a dark cloud. Weeks later, John calls again. "I've got enough evidence," he says. "We can press charges." We meet with our lawyer, who files a restraining order against Mark and initiates legal proceedings for blackmail and harassment. The case goes to court, and the trial is set. The courtroom is tense, filled with reporters and spectators. Emma and I sit side by side, our hands clasped tightly together. Mark sits across from us, his expression smug. He thinks he's untouchable, but he's wrong. The trial is intense, with witnesses testifying about Mark's history of blackmail and manipulation. John presents the evidence he's gathered, painting a damning picture of Mark's actions. When Emma takes the stand, she's visibly shaken but determined. She recounts the affair, the threats, and the blackmail, her voice steady despite the pain. I can see the toll it's taking on her, but I'm proud of her strength. Finally, it's my turn. I take the stand, my heart pounding. I testify about the email, the video, and the impact it's had on our lives. I try to stay composed, but the anger and hurt are evident in my voice. The jury deliberates for hours, but finally, they reach a verdict. Mark is found guilty on all charges. The relief is overwhelming, but it's tempered by the knowledge that the scars of this ordeal will take time to heal. As we leave the courtroom, Emma turns to me, her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Jack, for standing by me, for fighting for us." I pull her into my arms, holding her tightly. "We're not done fighting," I say softly. "But we'll get through this. Together." In the weeks that follow, we start to rebuild our lives once more. The media frenzy dies down, and we begin to find a new normal. Therapy continues, helping us navigate the complicated emotions and rebuild trust. One evening, as we sit on the porch, watching the sunset, Emma turns to me, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and fear. "Do you think we can really move past this, Jack?" I take her hand, squeezing it gently. "I think we can. It's going to take time, but we're stronger than this." She nods, leaning her head on my shoulder. "I love you," she whispers. I love you too, I reply, feeling a sense of peace for the first time in months. The road ahead is still uncertain, but for the first time, I feel hopeful. We've faced the worst and come out the other side. It's not the life I imagined, but it's a life worth fighting for. And as long as we have each other, I know we can overcome anything. The courtroom feels like a distant memory now. Life has returned to a semblance of normalcy, but the scars remain. Emma and I have been working hard to rebuild our trust, brick by brick. It's not easy, but we're making progress. We continue our therapy sessions with Dr. Lewis, who has been a lifeline for us. You've both come a long way, she says during one session, but there's still work to be done. I know, I reply, glancing at Emma. We're committed to seeing this through. After the session, Emma and I walk hand in hand to the car. I'm proud of us, she says, squeezing my hand. We've been through so much, but we're still here. I smile, feeling a warmth spread through me. Yeah, we are. At home, we settle into our evening routine. Emma cooks dinner while I set the table. We talk about our day, sharing the small moments that make up our lives. It's these moments that remind me why we're fighting so hard to stay together. Later that night, as we lie in bed, Emma snuggles close to me. I've been thinking, she says softly. Maybe we should take a trip, just the two of us. Get away from everything for a while. A trip. It sounds like a good idea. We could use a break from the stress, a chance to reconnect. Where do you want to go? I ask, running my fingers through her hair. Somewhere quiet, peaceful, she replies. Maybe a cabin in the mountains. I nod, picturing us surrounded by nature, away from the chaos of our lives. I like that idea. Let's do it. We plan the trip meticulously, finding a secluded cabin with a breathtaking view of the mountains. The anticipation of the getaway fills us with excitement. It feels like a fresh start, a new beginning. The drive to the cabin is long, but the scenery is beautiful. We talk and laugh, the miles slipping away. By the time we arrive, it's late afternoon. The cabin is perfect, nestled among the trees with a clear view of the mountains. As we unpack, I feel a sense of peace settling over me. This is exactly what we needed. Emma seems to feel it too. She's more relaxed, her smile genuine and unforced. That evening, we sit on the porch, watching the sunset. The colors are vibrant, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It's beautiful, Emma whispers, leaning her head on my shoulder. It is, I agree, wrapping my arm around her. Just like you. She smiles, a blush creeping into her cheeks. You always know how to make me feel special. We sit in comfortable silence, the sound of the forest around us. It's a perfect moment, one that I want to hold on to forever. The next few days are a blissful escape. We hike through the woods, explore the nearby lake, and spend our evenings by the fireplace, talking about everything and nothing. It's like we're rediscovering each other, finding new ways to connect. One night, as the fire crackles, Emma turns to me, her eyes filled with a mix of desire and vulnerability. Jack, I want to show you how much I love you, she whispers, her fingers tracing patterns on my chest. I feel a surge of emotion, a deep longing that has been building for months. I love you too, Emma, I reply, my voice husky. Our kisses are slow and tender at first, exploring each other with a renewed passion. As the firelight dances across our skin, the intensity builds. We lose ourselves in each other, the world outside fading away. Afterwards, we lie entwined, our bodies still humming with the afterglow. That was incredible, Emma murmurs, her head resting on my chest. It was, I agree, feeling a deep sense of contentment. I've missed this. Me too, she says, her voice soft. I feel like we're finding our way back to each other. We are, I say, kissing her forehead, one step at a time. The rest of the trip passes in a haze of happiness. We return home feeling closer than we have in months. But reality has a way of creeping back in. The demands of work, the stress of daily life, They're all waiting for us. One evening, as I'm working late in my home office, Emma comes in, looking worried. "Jack, we need to talk." I put down my pen, my heart sinking. "What is it?" "I got a call today," she says, sitting down. "From Mark's lawyer." I feel a chill run down my spine. "What did he want?" "He claims that Mark has new evidence, something that could turn the case around," she says, her voice trembling. "He wants to meet with us." I feel a mix of anger and fear. We've come so far, and now this. Why would he want to meet? We've already won. "I don't know," Emma says, tears welling up in her eyes. "But I'm scared, Jack. What if he really has something?" I take a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "We'll deal with it," I say firmly. "We've faced worse. We can handle this." We arrange to meet Mark's lawyer at a neutral location, a small conference room in a downtown office building. The tension is palpable as we sit down, waiting for him to arrive. When he finally walks in, he's carrying a thick file. He sits down across from us, his expression unreadable. "Thank you for coming," he says, opening the file. "Let's get to the point," I say, my voice hard. "What's this new evidence?" He slides a stack of papers across the table. "Mark claims that these documents prove he was set up, that the affair was a trap." I feel a surge of anger. This is ridiculous. We have more than enough evidence to prove his guilt. "Maybe," the lawyer says, leaning back in his chair. "But these documents suggest otherwise, and if this goes to court again, it could get messy." I glance at the papers, my mind racing. "What do you want?" "A settlement," he says simply. "Drop the charges, and we'll drop the new evidence. Everyone walks away." I feel a surge of rage. After everything we've been through, he wants us to just walk away? "No," I say firmly. "We're not backing down." Emma looks at me, her eyes wide with fear. "Jack, are you sure?" I take her hand, squeezing it tightly. "Yes, we've come too far to give up now." The lawyer nods, as if he expected this. "Very well, we'll see you in court." The next few weeks are a blur of legal preparations and mounting stress. Emma and I lean on each other, trying to stay strong. The trial date looms closer, and the tension is almost unbearable. Finally, the day arrives. We sit in the courtroom, our hearts pounding. The new evidence is presented, and it's clear that it's fabricated, but it's enough to cast doubt, enough to make things difficult. We fight hard, presenting our case with all the strength we can muster. The courtroom is a battlefield, every word and gesture scrutinized. But through it all, Emma and I stand together, united. In the end, the truth prevails. The judge rules in our favor, dismissing the new evidence as inadmissible. Mark is found guilty, and his sentence is upheld. The relief is overwhelming. As we leave the courtroom, Emma turns to me, her eyes filled with tears. "We did it," she whispers, her voice choked with emotion. "We did," I say, pulling her into my arms. "We're free." The aftermath of the trial is a time of healing and rebuilding. Emma and I continue our therapy, finding new ways to connect and grow. We spend more time together, focusing on the things that matter. One evening, as we sit on the porch, watching the sunset, Emma turns to me with a smile. "I feel like we've come full circle," she says softly. "We've faced so much, but we're still here." I nod, feeling a deep sense of peace. We are, and we're stronger for it. As the sun dips below the horizon, I realize that we've found something new, something stronger than what we had before. It's not perfect, but it's ours. And as long as we have each other, I know we can face anything that comes our way. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. And for the first time in a long time, I feel truly happy. The trial is behind us, but the consequences of our ordeal linger. Emma and I continue our therapy sessions, determined to heal the wounds that still gape wide. We have come a long way, but the path ahead remains uncertain. One evening, I receive a call from our lawyer. "Jack, there's something you need to know," he says, his voice tense. "Mark has appealed the verdict. My stomach knots. What does that mean for us? It means more court dates, more stress, but we'll fight it. We have a strong case. I hang up, feeling the weight of the news. I head to the living room, where Emma is reading. Mark's appealing the verdict, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Her face falls. Why can't he just leave us alone? We'll get through this, I say, sitting beside her. We've done it before. Days blur into weeks as we prepare for the appeal. The tension is almost unbearable, but Emma and I lean on each other for support. We're determined not to let Mark's actions destroy us. The day of the appeal arrives. The courtroom is filled with tension, the air thick with anticipation. We sit side by side, our hands clasped tightly together. Mark's lawyer presents his arguments, trying to cast doubt on the original verdict. Our lawyer fights back, presenting our case with unwavering determination. The hours drag on, each moment a test of our resolve. I glance at Emma, her face pale but resolute. We've come too far to back down now. Finally, the judge delivers the verdict. The appeal is denied. The original verdict stands. Relief floods through me. We've won, again. But the victory feels hollow, tainted by the stress and fear we've endured. As we leave the courtroom, Emma turns to me, her eyes filled with tears. "It's over," she whispers. "It is," I say, pulling her into my arms. "We're finally free." But freedom comes at a cost. The months of stress have taken their toll on both of us. We're exhausted, emotionally and physically. We decide to take a break from everything, to find a way to heal and move forward. We plan another trip, this time to a secluded beach. The idea of sun and sand, of being away from the chaos, is enticing. We pack our bags and set off, the tension easing with each mile we put between us and the city. The beach is everything we hoped for. The sound of the waves, the warmth of the sun. It's like a balm for our weary souls. We spend our days swimming, lounging in the sun, and exploring the coastline. One evening, as we walk along the shore, Emma turns to me. "Jack, I want to thank you." "For what?" I ask, surprised. "For standing by me, for fighting for us," she says, her voice filled with emotion. "I know it hasn't been easy." I stop, pulling her close. "We've both fought, Emma, and we're stronger for it." She smiles, her eyes sparkling in the fading light. "I love you." "I love you too," I say, kissing her softly. "Always." The days pass in a blissful haze. We reconnect, finding a new rhythm together. It's not perfect, but it's ours. We talk about our future, about what we want from life. For the first time in a long time, we feel hopeful. But as our vacation comes to an end, reality beckons. We return home, determined to face whatever comes next with a united front. One evening, as we sit on the porch watching the sunset, Emma turns to me. "I've been thinking about something," she says, her voice hesitant. "What is it?" I ask, curious. "I want to start a family," she says, her eyes searching mine. "I know it's a big step, but I think we're ready." I'm taken aback. We've talked about children before, but it always seemed like a distant dream. "Are you sure?" She nods, her expression resolute. "I am. I think it's the next step for us." I take her hand, feeling a surge of love and hope. Then let's do it. The decision to start a family brings a new sense of purpose to our lives. We start making plans, talking about baby names, and preparing our home for the changes to come. It feels like a fresh start, a new chapter in our story. But the road to parenthood is not without its challenges. We face setbacks and disappointments, but we remain steadfast in our resolve. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. One morning, Emma surprises me with a small wrapped box. "What's this?" I ask, curious. "Open it," she says, her eyes shining with excitement. I unwrap the box to find a pregnancy test, the result clear and unmistakable. "Emma, are you—" She nods, tears of joy streaming down her face. "We're going to have a baby, Jack." I pull her into my arms, overwhelmed with happiness. I can't believe it. Believe it, she says, laughing through her tears. We did it. The months that follow are a whirlwind of preparations and emotions. We attend doctor's appointments, decorate the nursery, and talk endlessly about our hopes and dreams for our child. It's a time of joy and anticipation, a beacon of light after so much darkness. But as the due date approaches, I feel a growing sense of anxiety. I want everything to be perfect, to protect Emma and our baby from any harm. It's a familiar feeling, one that has driven me throughout our journey. One evening, as we sit in the nursery, Emma takes my hand. Jack, I know you're worried, but we've faced so much already. We can handle this too. I know, I say, squeezing her hand. I just want everything to be perfect. It will be, she says softly, because we're in this together. The day finally arrives. Emma goes into labor and we rush to the hospital. It's a chaotic, exhilarating experience, filled with moments of fear and joy. I stay by her side, holding her hand, encouraging her through every contraction. After hours of labor, our baby is born. A healthy, beautiful girl. The moment I hold her in my arms, I'm overwhelmed with love and gratitude. She's perfect, I whisper, tears streaming down my face. She is, Emma agrees, her eyes filled with wonder. We did it, Jack. As we settle into our new roles as parents, we find a new sense of purpose and fulfillment. The sleepless nights, the endless diapers, the moments of sheer exhaustion, they're all worth it. Our daughter brings a light to our lives that we never imagined possible. One evening, as I rock her to sleep, I think about everything we've been through. The betrayal, the trials, the hard-won victories. It's been a long, difficult journey, but it's led us here, to this moment of peace and happiness. Emma joins me, wrapping her arms around me as we watch our daughter sleep. We've come so far, she whispers. We have, I agree, feeling a deep sense of contentment. And we're just getting started. As we stand there, united in love and purpose, I realize that we've found something stronger than we ever had before. It's not just about surviving the storms, it's about finding the strength to rebuild, to create something beautiful out of the ashes. We've faced our demons, fought our battles, and emerged stronger for it. And as we look to the future, I know that we can face anything that comes our way, because we have each other, and that's all we need. The journey continues, filled with challenges and triumphs, but we're ready. Together, we can handle anything. And as I hold my daughter close, I know that the best is yet to come. The morning sun filters through the curtains, casting a warm glow on the nursery walls. I watch our daughter sleep peacefully in her crib, her tiny chest rising and falling with each breath. She's the picture of innocence, a reminder of everything we've fought for. Emma steps beside me, her eyes soft with love. She's perfect, isn't she? She whispers, her voice filled with awe. She is, I reply, wrapping an arm around her. We're so lucky. As we stand there, I reflect on our journey. We've faced unimaginable challenges, but we've come out stronger on the other side. The pain and betrayal seem like distant memories, overshadowed by the love we've rebuilt. Life settles into a new routine, filled with the joys and challenges of parenthood. We laugh more, finding happiness in the little moments, our daughter's first smile, her first steps, her infectious laughter. Each milestone brings us closer together, healing the wounds of the past. One evening, as Emma and I sit on the porch watching the sunset, she turns to me with a smile. I've been thinking, she says, her eyes twinkling with mischief. About what? I ask, curious. About our future. I want to make sure we keep growing, keep finding new adventures together, she says. I nod, feeling a surge of excitement. I'm all in. What do you have in mind? She laughs, a light, joyful sound. How about we start with a small vacation, just the three of us, somewhere quiet, where we can reconnect as a family? A vacation sounds perfect, I agree, picturing us by a serene lake or in a cozy cabin. Let's do it. We plan the trip meticulously, finding a charming cabin by a secluded lake. It's a place where we can escape the noise and reconnect. The anticipation of the getaway fills us with excitement. The drive to the cabin is peaceful, the scenery breathtaking. When we arrive, the cabin is everything we hoped for. Rustic, cozy, surrounded by nature. It feels like a sanctuary, a place where we can truly relax and be ourselves. Days pass in a blissful haze. We hike through the woods, explore the lake, and spend our evenings by the fireplace, talking about our hopes and dreams. It's a time of reflection and renewal, a chance to focus on what truly matters. One night, as the fire crackles and our daughter sleeps soundly in the next room, Emma turns to me with a serious expression. "Jack, I want to talk about something important." I feel a nod of apprehension. "What is it?" She takes a deep breath. "I know we've come a long way, but I think it's time to let go of the past completely, to forgive ourselves and each other fully." I nod, understanding the weight of her words. "I agree. We can't move forward if we're holding on to old pain." She smiles, her eyes shining with tears. "I love you, Jack, and I'm so grateful for the life we're building together." "I love you too, Emma," I say, pulling her into my arms. "More than anything." The next morning, we wake up early to watch the sunrise over the lake. The sky is painted with hues of pink and orange, the water reflecting the beauty above. It's a moment of pure tranquility, a symbol of our new beginning. As we stand there, holding each other, I realize that we've finally found our way back to each other. The past no longer holds us captive. We've created something stronger, built on trust, love, and a shared commitment to our future. Back home, we continue to nurture our relationship, finding joy in the everyday moments. Our daughter grows quickly, her laughter filling our home with light. We celebrate each milestone, each small victory, knowing that we've earned this happiness. One evening, as we sit on the porch watching the sunset, Emma turns to me with a smile. "I feel like we've come full circle," she says softly. "We've faced so much, but we're still here." I nod, feeling a deep sense of peace. We are, and we're stronger for it. As the sun dips below the horizon, I realize that we found something new, something stronger than what we had before. It's not just about surviving the storms. It's about finding the strength to rebuild, to create something beautiful out of the ashes. We've faced our demons, fought our battles, and emerged stronger for it. And as we look to the future, I know that we can face anything that comes our way, because we have each other, and that's all we need. The journey continues, filled with challenges and triumphs, but we're ready. Together, we can handle anything. And as I hold my daughter close, I know that the best is yet to come. The months pass, and we grow even closer as a family. We cherish the moments of quiet joy, the simple pleasures of everyday life. Emma and I find new ways to connect, to deepen our love and understanding of each other. One night, as we lie in bed, Emma turns to me with a contented sigh. "I'm happy, Jack, truly happy." I smile, feeling a warmth spread through me. "Me too. We've built something incredible together." She nods, her eyes filled with love. "And we'll keep building, one day at a time." As we drift off to sleep, I feel a profound sense of gratitude. For Emma, for our daughter, for the life we've created. We've been through so much, but we've come out stronger, more resilient, more in love than ever. Our story is far from over. There will be more challenges, more trials to face, but we're ready. Because we've learned that true strength comes from standing together, from facing life's storms hand in hand. And as long as we have each other, I know that we can weather any storm. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. And the future is bright, filled with endless possibilities. Together, we can face anything.